Hello everyone, I am Matthew. I own my own board game company called Envy Born Games. About a month ago, I made a video on how to self-fulfill and also save money with shipping, some tricks and tips I knew. And I said that I knew some stuff about booking your own international ocean freight, and a lot of people wanted me to make that video, so I'm making that today. I would like to say I am by no means an expert at ocean freight, or the full understandings of all of the customs and duties and tariffs. I do have somewhat of a good understanding. I've done quite a few of these ocean freights. I've booked quite a few of them over the last year and a half. So I do have experience with it. And what I'm going to share now is my information and my experience with ocean freight. If I say something wrong or incorrectly, or if you know something different or another cool tip, please feel free to share that in the comments. I'm sure everyone would appreciate it, and I would as well. Having said that, I use Freightos when I book international ocean freight for my board games. So when I have an order that I have manufactured in China, I then book the ocean freight through Freightos. A lot of people ask their manufacturer to do it on their behalf, which some of them are willing to do, some don't do that. I know that there's other companies like OTX that a lot of people use, which are great. I've had emails with them. Communication was awesome. And then there's Freightos. I use Freightos because of how crazy ocean freight and how expensive it is right now. This always seems to be the most cost-effective method. And it's relatively easy, and there's a lot of tools to help you once you get started with it and you understand it a little. So what we're going to do is, once you go to the website, just to show you I'm not full of shit, here is 9 ocean freights that I've booked myself over the last year and a half and have had pretty much no issues with them. There's been some delays for different reasons, which I can tell you about later on, but I do have experience with this, and that's what I'm going to share with you. So what you're going to do is get started. It's going to take you to where you can get a quote done. Okay, so this is where you put in your information so you can see how much the ocean freight is going to cost you. What you need in order to do this is your pack list. You're also going to need your commercial invoice. Both of these things are something you can request from your manufacturer, and they can provide to you with ease. To show you a pack list example, this is a pack list from one of my manufacturers that I use. It's really basic, but it has all the information that I need in it. And it has my order. So basically a pack list is going to tell you how many units, how many cartons, how big the pallets are, how many pallets, and the weight. So if you can see here, it shows you the games and the expansion as well. We booked this not too long ago. So we have 3,000 of them coming, but those 3,000 fit in 150 cartons or boxes. And then it gives you the carton size and the weight. And then it gives you the pallets. So we now know that there's 3 pallets. And this is in millimeters. Freightos takes centimeters. So we'll translate that. You can do that with a Google search, millimeters to centimeters, very easily. Or if you just know it in your head, you can do it yourself. And then you have the weight, the total weight. So since there's 3 pallets, we would divide this by 3. So now that you've seen the pack list, I can go into putting in the numbers. So right now we have boxes and crates select. We have pallets. Pallets is typically the more effective and cheaper way to ship your games, and safer in my opinion. So I would recommend asking your fulfillment or your manufacturer to pallet your games. So we had 3 pallets. And now we have to put in the dimensions of the pallet itself, which was 100 by 110 by 176.5. We have to change this to, it had it in inches, so we have to change it to CBM. Then we have our weight. So I showed you that original weight, and we need to divide it by 3 because there's 3 pallets. 4. And that's in pounds, but it's in kilograms from our manufacturer. So there we go. Then you verify on your pack list to make sure things are right. You can see right here it shows there's 3 units, so that's saying that there's 3 pallets. It's saying it's 5.82 CBM, which is cubic meter. It's a different like measurement type. It's calculated by width, height, and length. You know, pretty basic. As you can see, my pack list says 5.84. I put everything in exactly as they gave it to me, so it's a little bit off. It's not the end of the world. If there's a discrepancy, your ocean or your freight forwarder, the person that you book, will charge you the difference. There's sometimes slight variations. I've actually gotten money back before because what I put in, what the manufacturer gave me and I put in was more than what the freight forwarder recorded on their end. And then I've had times where I've had to give them a little bit more money. It's never been a significant amount, you know, maybe $30, $40, something like that. And we can also see that we have the proper weight as well here. So now that we know that that's all correct, we can put our pack list to the side. Now let's go into the next step. So pick up goods. Where are they coming from? Obviously, you're picking them up from your manufacturer. But what are your terms with your manufacturer? Is it FOB? Is it EXW? You should know this. And it's something that you negotiate with your manufacturer. It's usually on your RFQ that they return to you. Just so, in case you don't know, EXW means Ex Works, and that means that basically the manufacturer will make your order available in a location, and you're responsible for transporting it from that location to the port and onto your vessel. So you're responsible as soon as it leaves the door of their manufacturing plant or warehouse, and also the transportation of it. If you do free on board, FOB, basically the seller or the manufacturer will arrange that transportation to a vessel that you give them information to, at which point you're now responsible for that and all the liability of it falls to you. We always do free on board because it's easier process for us, and it typically saves you money because you don't have to put out extra money for the transportation, which is something that Freightos will do for you. But if you can save some money, we do FOB, and obviously changes the pricing of your quote as well. But I highly recommend FOB. That's usually the terms we negotiate. You can click the origins locations, factory warehouse, so you would pick it up. We have FOB, so port airport FOB, so I'm going to select that. Our manufacturer is in China, and the closest port to them is Shanghai. All right, so, oh, that's not correct. Shanghai with the boat, because we're doing ocean freight. If we're doing a plane, that shit would be expensive as hell. Your manufacturer will tell you when your goods are ready to be picked up. That's where you put in the state. It doesn't, you can go a little bit off the day they give you. I usually give some window room. I typically don't book ocean freight until 2 weeks to a week out because the pricing can change within that time, and then you have to pay the difference. So let's just say it's the 31st, our goods will be ready, so we're booking it a week in advance. Now, where is it going? So as a publisher or self-publisher, are you having this sent to your house? Are you fulfilling your orders yourself to your backers? Are you having this sent to a fulfillment center? Are you having this sent directly to Amazon? What are you doing? Well, this is where you put them in and let them know. If it's going to your house, you would click the residential option. For a lot of first-time publishers with successful Kickstarters, this is perfectly reasonable option. And I made a how-to video on how to self-fulfill and save money doing it. So that's perfectly fine. In this scenario, they're going to send a truck that has a lift gate, and that's going to charge you a little bit more money. Versus if you're sending it to a fulfillment center that has access to that. So my fulfillment center is a factory warehouse. They don't need a lift gate, so I'm not going to choose the business needs lift gate option. It's coming to the United States, and my warehouse is not in Las Vegas, but I will just put Las Vegas as an example because that's where we're based out of. Next step. Okay, so custom broker, your import broker. This is something that you need. You can't do it without it. So Freightos provides an option where they will automatically assign an import broker for you to your ocean freight booking. If you work with your own import broker, you can click no. It gives you this little warning like, hey, you didn't click a broker. At that point, that means you're going to have to make those arrangements outside once the booking, get them in communications with the freight forwarder and your manufacturer and all that stuff. It's an option. It's a lot easier to do it in-house. I've done it both ways. I haven't had it really issues either way. So we're going to say yes and use the in-house import broker, which is Clear It USA for Freightos. How many commodities? Well, what's a commodity, right? If you ship 10 boxes full of teddy bears, the number of commodities is 1. If you ship 10 boxes and each with a different product, then you have 10 commodities. Well, on my pack list, you could see that I had a base game and an expansion. So I'm going to do 2 commodities. Purchase customs bond. You have to have this in the US. I have a continuous bond, which is a one-time expense that is good for a whole year. If you're importing things more than 4 times a year, this option will save you money, because if you're doing a customs bond every single time you import, they charge you money for it. So this is a way, once you get over that 4 per year threshold, you're saving money because you're not paying for it again. If you're doing a single bond, again, this is where I said you need your commercial invoice, so you need to know how much all of your games and your product costs, which obviously you do. You put that into this amount. Let's say it was $28,000. It's going to give you a cost, and it also has the a fee for the ISF bond that they're going to file on your behalf. Trust me, you want that. So I'll just collect this. Normally, I skip this option because, again, I have a continuous bond. I already paid it for it once, and as you can see, I've done 9 imports over the last year, so it's well worth it for me. From there, I usually skip over this because none of it applies to me. If you have batteries or liquids in whatever you're shipping, then you might want to make sure you read this and click that. I do not. All I ever import is board games, dice boxes, things like that. So they already clicked you to have insurance because you're doing a single bond. They auto-clicked it for you and put in the price. Insurance is very cheap when you're importing goods. I highly recommend it as well. And make sure you put in the correct cost of your games and what you're shipping. I've had an instance where we were ocean freighting something. When it arrived, there was a few cartons that were completely damaged and product was literally pouring out of it. So I took the total number that was damaged. I contacted the insurance company that was covering me, and it's not the easiest things to do claims. They make you jump through some hoops, but eventually I was like, this many are damaged. This is what they each are valued. I need this much money back, and then they sent me a check. If you don't get this, you're totally shit out of luck, and that's not good. So once everything's in, let's click search and book. Again, once you can create a free account. This is free to use. So here you go. Now they're going to give you a bunch of different options to choose from. And I typically go with the cheapest one. I've never actually shipped with ECU worldwide before, and they have 3.5 stars, so I might reconsider. Let's scroll down a little and see what else. I am familiar with C.H. Robinson's. I've worked with them before, have had no issues. They're good. They're only $200 more. That makes me feel a little bit better, Seabay International, I've worked with them a lot, and I really am comfortable with them and the service that they provide. It's $130 or $230 more about. I would probably click this option because for me, the peace of mind and the service that I know I'm going to get from them makes me feel a lot better personally. And as you can see, it shows you the customs broker that you're going to have on all these, and it's Clear It USA, like I said. They work pretty much exclusively with Freightos at this point. Used to be FedEx. So you can click cheapest, quickest, greenest, if that's what you're into, it's cool. That's a nice thing. And all these prices are pretty close. It looks like the cheapest option is also the quickest and the greenest and the best value. So that's cool. It's right here in front of you. But they have 3.5 stars, so I don't know how I feel about them. These will tell you the estimated transit time, 26 to 32 days, 30 to 36 days. With the current way ocean freight and demand is and what the pandemic did, things are still recovering. Prices are really high still. These dates seem to be getting longer or, taking longer than the estimations typically. It shows you the actual route that it's going to take as well. If you actually want to look up into that and follow it, you can read reviews on these if you click it to see what problems people had. And then you can also open this and it will show you the breakdown of all the costs and all the fees and why it costs exactly what it cost. I don't 100% understand all of these things. I have a rough understanding. It's not 100% relevant for me to know this stuff. Shows you your custom broker here, and then your total. And look, the insurance was only $97 on $28,000 worth of product. That's a pretty good rate in my opinion. So yeah, you can look at that, but let's say we want this. Let's select it. All right, we're doing it. Let's go. So it's going to give you a booking summary. It shows you kind of the breakdown. It's going to Las Vegas, seller quote, the broker fees, insurance, all that stuff. Your pallet size, the weight that you put in, the freight forwarder you're using, the broker you're using, and the insurance company you're using. It's always the same insurance company every booking I've done. From there, confirm and book. If you click that, it's going to basically ask you to put in your payment information. It could be a credit card, it could be a wire, it could be a check, I believe, ACH transfer, all that stuff. Once you do that, the import broker, Clear It USA, is going to ask you to fill out a power of attorney. They might ask you for your business license or your articles of organization so they can confirm that you are who you're saying that you are. These custom or import brokers are so important. They file basically everything on your behalf and they make it worry free. You don't really have to understand everything. I have a slight understanding of a lot of these things. They're probably going to ask you for your harmonized tariff schedule, HTS code. I'll pull that over as well. This is basically letting customs know what you're importing. So they have to report this, right? So there's different codes for every type of product. I'm always 9504.90.60 most of the time because it's board games. This is chess, checkers, backgammon, darts, other games played on boards on special designs, yada, 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 yada. So this is what we fall under if you're importing board games more likely. You can see here, you can't because my screen's blocking it, but you can see the rates of duty is what is showing here, and this is free. So there's no extra tariffs or duties on this HTS number, which is cool. So you're gonna have to provide some stuff to clear it, and once they verify that stuff, you're good to go. So from here, I'll go into one of mine. It's gonna bring you to this screen. This little tracker up here is going to be, I think it'll be on the second one, and it's verifying documents, and you have to supply other information and documents and fill all this stuff out basically. So you have to put in your co-signer information. This is basically your manufacturer, their business, where they're located, their phone number. This way your freight forwarder and manufacturer can talk, communicate, make arrangements, anything like that. Co-signee, that's going to be you, your business company, your address, your phone number, contact information, and then delivery address, wherever it's going. If it's to your house again or your business, you put in that information. If it's going to a fulfillment center, put in that information. We work with a fulfillment center, so we have the information for that fulfillment center put in there. You're also going to have to upload those documents that you took information from already, which is your invoice, your commercial invoice, because they have to verify the costs and all that with customs and show what's coming in, how much was actually paid, and then your pack list, so they can see exactly the size and what it is and all that stuff. So those are two things you'll have to upload. Once you do that, your freight forwarder, in this case, it's Seabay International Freight Forwarding. It's kind of cut off because my face is blocking it, but they're going to handle everything from here. You can also see, gives you a summary of your order size, what it is, value, weight. It shows the route and estimated times. Down here it does too. You could see originally it was supposed to receive the goods on April 22nd, but they got them on the 25th. So, that's what I'm saying. They talk and make arrangements and whatever. The actual date was the 24th. So these things get crossed out and updated as it happens. Booking details. This is information that the ocean or the freight forwarder is going to provide to you. HBOL, bill of lading, MBOL. These are things that you're probably not going to have to do anything with it, but they're going to send you the forms and all that, so you keep that in your files in case it is ever something that's requested. Like if you have to make an insurance claim, like that's kind of information that they need as well. But yeah, so that's that. And then once you have your freight forwarder, the one that you picked out, we picked out Seabay International here, you can communicate with them. There's a little there's this little chat box up here, and then it opens a chat. As you can see, I've had a lot of communication with them. As you can see, a lot of communication with them. I have questions, I have concerns, I want to make sure things are in order. I ask them things, or they ask me things, provide us with this form or that, or fill this out. Everything that's sent in there also gets sent to your email. So like if you respond an email, it usually gets sent in there as well. So it's all logged. They're usually extremely helpful. If you have questions for them or concerns, they'll address them. There is a time difference because they're halfway across the world. So it's usually like a day before they'll respond, or, so many hours. But they're always helpful. Beyond that, if you have an issue with your freight forwarder, or if you have an issue with the import broker, or you have just questions and you want to understand what an ISF form is, which is something the import broker files on your behalf, and it has to be done, I believe, 24 or 48 hours before your goods leave their origins country, or you can face a $5,000 to $10,000 fine. So that's really important for it to get filed. They'll explain that to you. Or if you want to know more about the different fees or tariffs or duties to expect, or just questions in general, like you just click this box down here and you can talk directly with somebody at Freightos. I have talked to people at Freightos a lot. You can see I have many conversations with people at Freightos. I ask questions. Hey, I want to understand a little bit better, or I'm concerned about this, or I'm worried about this, or I have this issue. They'll go into detail with you. They'll go over it with you. They'll send you links to articles that you can read so you can understand it better. So it's a really great tool. There's tons of options and support you can get. As I said, I've used this 9 times now, I think, on my own, and it always seems to be the most effective way, and costs it saves me the most cost-wise, and it's super easy once you do it. They'll keep you updated through emails and date changes and delivery, arriving at port, stuff like that. When it comes times to pay customs duties or tariffs, they'll pay it on your behalf and then invoice you. You just pay for it. But yeah, that's all that. Going over this stuff real quick. I think that's everything. I mean, I might have missed something, or said something incorrectly, but again, this is based off my experience with it and my knowledge. I'm not the all-encompassing, know everything, but this is how it's done. And once you do there, it's pretty much handled on its own. You might have to fill out some paperwork or ask questions or stuff like that, but it gets imported, and then if there's no customs holdup, which typically isn't the case, it goes to your fulfillment center or your house, and then you go from there. So that's typically it. Again, it saves the most money. I've tried to get quotes from OTX, my manufacturer, and then I look at this, and it's always the most cost-effective method. So I highly recommend using it. It's very safe. It's very reliable. I've had no issues. There's some delays in ocean freight sometimes because of what's going on in the world. I had something arrived at port in LA, and then it sat there for 3 weeks because they just literally didn't have the workers to unload everything, and they were just super backed up. So there's delays and stuff like that, but you can ask them. They'll tell you why or what's going on. They'll check into things for you, and it's super easy once you do it a few times. It saves all your information too, so you can easily book more stuff again. But yeah, I highly, highly recommend using Freightos for your ocean freight. It's going to save you some money because obviously, if somebody's doing it for you, they're providing a service, so there's going to be some added fees on that. Obviously, Freightos takes a cut, but it's minimal. Having said that, that's my experience with ocean freight. I hope this is helpful to someone out there, whether you're a board game publisher, self-publishing for the first time, or importing something else besides board games. I hope this was helpful to you. If you know something that I didn't mention that's cost effective or saving money or a good tip, please share it in the comments. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. And yeah, I just hope everyone found this helpful and informative. And thank you for watching it, and I'll see you